How goes it? How are ya? Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm Rob. I do a live news commentary. We go over the news and then we comment on it. Interesting news today. Russell Brand hit with some charges in the UK. Some domestic charges. So if any of you were wondering why this seemingly left ideas person who's like promoting a lot of leftist ideas with compassion and empathy, this former addict, Russell Brand, why he took the hard right, it might have to do with these charges. Might just have to do with the all of a sudden I found Christ and I'm doing the right wing interview tour and palling up with Tucker Carlson is because what at one point Tucker Carlson once talked about with, what was it, Sam Bankman-Fried? I think on the interview with Sam Bankman-Fried, I believe it was Tucker Carlson, or one of those right-wing talking puppets for the billionaire class. One of them said to Sam Bankman-Fried, they said, you donated a lot of money to the Democrats. Where are they now? Why haven't they, helped you out? Why did they still charge you? Why are you in prison? So it speaks loudly to like what they believe. They believe the same thing what Donald Trump said. I don't know when he said this. It was a couple decades ago, but Donald Trump was clear. He said, if I make a donation to some politicians when I need a favor, I get that favor. It highlights the corruption of money in politics, especially dark money, especially PAC money. We see it all the time. It's in front of our face. I'm afraid that the American people have become normalized to it. But if you're wondering why Russell Brand took such a hard right turn, it might have to do with the fact that he's hoping all these people will start screaming, fake news, fake news, fake news. That's the best thing to do. Kevin Tierney, hello. Pickles. Oh, I do? We're probably not neighbors. But I bet your neighbor's a handsome-looking fellow. Also in the news, Mel Gibson. Everybody remember Mel Gibson? Does everybody remember his tirade? What's up? What's up, Kaz? No, I do not like Donald Trump, and I feel bad for people who like him. There is some good news, though. He's killing capitalism. Donald Trump is actively trying to end capitalism. Today or yesterday was the lowest the market has dropped since 2020, which everybody knows what happened in 2020. We had a global thing happen. But again, he's because Kevin he's a liar, number one. He has no character, morality, or ethics. He's just a loser. And his only agenda is that of what he wants to do. He doesn't care about people. He doesn't care about anybody. And my proof is, in this trade war he's sparking, he says he wants to bring jobs back to America. But if that was the truth, why does he make his t-shirts in Nicaragua? Like, he could easily have proudly American made. But you'll never see him say like, hey, buy my merch because it's proudly union American made, good paying American jobs. He's never said that. Jimmy Kimmel on TV has bought his stuff on his show, bought his things and looked at the tag. Just the other week, one of my favorite bands, Dropkick Murphys, at their show, they had a maggot in the crowd who would not stop being obnoxious. So Mr. Kenny Casey, the lead singer of the Dropkick Murphys, finally addressed this dude and said, I'll make a bet with you. We know our stuff. We proudly make our stuff union made here in America. He said, let's see if your MAGA shirt is made in America. And the kid turned around and somebody looked at the tag and it was made in Nicaragua. So all this stuff, and he lies to people, and he hopes people are just too busy trying to work 3 jobs to pay rent, or they're too frustrated with society right now that he's preying on their fears that they'll lose their common sense, the critical thinking, the basics of stuff, which a lot of people have. A lot of people have just lost common sense because they'll be like, yeah, bring manufacturing back to America, bring jobs back to America. But it's like, well, if you want to do that, wouldn't you lead by example? Wouldn't Trump just make his stuff here and then if he had American-made stuff, that's the easiest win for any politicians. You say, I make my stuff proudly in America. It's like the My Pillow guy, He wouldn't shut up about his shops in America. He would do tours. His infomercials were about his American shops. Like when people make stuff in America, what they do, Deeg, here's the thing. Why don't you go troll somebody else? Go to Ben Shapiro's channel or something. Is it hard for you to hear the truth, or is it just hard for you to hear something different than what you're fed all the time? I love these true patriots that don't want to hear anything else. The true patriots that are like, shut up, leftist. Shut up pointing things out. It's so funny to me. And that's what I mean. Like, common sense is gone. If your ability to have a discussion with somebody and they're pointing out like basic stuff, like Donald Trump does not make any of his products in America. His guitar made in China, his Bible made in China. And if he really wanted to bring manufacturing, if he wanted to bring jobs back here, bro, you would just do it with your own companies. But there's a reason, we're Trump is ending globalization, which could be a good thing for America. Stop making sense. Alma, the thing is, the thing is these people that are in this cult, it's very hard for them to hear anything that, like, they're the most sensitive people I've ever met. Because immediately they shut down and they want to tell you to shut up, leave the country. It's all like, I could write a fucking book of like Trump maggot comebacks, because it's always like, if you hate America, why don't you leave? Why don't you just shut up? It's very basic. I got to start taking notes because I hear it all the time. I hear this all the time from people, and it's never like a dialogue. It's just like the Trump people. They usually come into the chat and they just say Trump won, and I'm like, brag about something else. Like, if I was a maggot right now, I'd be like, Trump's ending capitalism. He eradicated $2.5 trillion from the stock market. Everybody in this chat, we ain't stock market folks. I know you might join Wall Street bets on Reddit, but you ain't BlackRock, okay? You ain't BlackRock. And the thing is he's even eradicating the wealthiest people's money, which that's something to cheer about, That is something to say, fuck those people. They lost more money than they would have easily paid in taxes, which is hilarious because these people work so hard. These people work so hard to avoid taxes. They donated so much money to Trump to strip workers of their rights and to not pay taxes and to get a tax cut. And here Trump is kicking them all in the dick. Wiping out all their stock, because most of these CEOs, their value, like Elon Musk, his value is not real. He doesn't have much cash. He has imaginary wealth. It's wealth that is tied up in things. It's all backed by the stock price. So when you wipe out that stock price, their value goes down. The saddest part about that is they'll never go broke, And that's why they're building the infrastructure you see now. Because the other funny thing is, we'll get into Mel Gibson, how he should never ever own a gun again, but Trump gave him his gun back. Trump and Pam Bondi, they fired the Department of Justice head, and now Pam Bondi says, yeah, Mel Gibson, domestic violence, that's fine. You can have your gun back, even though that's like basic sense. You don't give those fucking people guns back. You've lost that right. So we'll get into that in a minute, and we'll talk more about Russell Brand. But Trump, you're watching him. I talked about it last week, and if you didn't read it, you can look it up. person Trump appointed to the head of the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, the person who sees your case, if you have a dispute with your work, if they're not paying you what they promised, like you have a contract to get paid $50 an hour and they're paying you $48 an hour, the labor board is what will oversee that. Okay, this is a very important thing for people who work. The labor board, those laws, those that whole institution is written and based on the bodies and blood of workers who died for these things. Americans who gave their life in protests and riots and labor disputes over the centuries. That is, I mean, if you have any kind of character at all, if you have any kind of fucking respect for American workers, you would respect the NLRB. And Trump, his appointee, is one of the biggest union-busting lawyers to head that. So somebody who fought against the NLRB, he just appointed them to run it. So Biden is so horrible. Everybody said Biden was a pro-worker president. But if you don't remember, and this really stuck with me, because as a worker, your right to strike, which you have a right to now, when you're watching this, if you're not watching this live in the future, I don't know if that right has been taken from you. But that is your most powerful tool. And you use it as a last resort. And you've seen the writers, the actors, you've seen railroad workers do this. And they use that strike to withhold their labor, and then that means the fat cats don't get paid. It's a very important tool, okay? And Biden stopped. Presidents are not supposed to stop a strike. The strike is the tool the workers use to get the healthcare benefits, the pay that the CEOs are hoarding for themselves. It's their tool to fight back. And Biden stopped the railroad strike. And then, if you remember, shortly after, we had East Palestine, Ohio happen. And the rail workers were all saying, this is why we were striking, because they're overworking us and they're underpaying us and we need more safety regulations and they're trying to blow the whistle. So I don't like Biden. If anything, Bernie right now, and I think I shared in my community posts, I think I shared Bernie's video, What Do We Do From Here? Because I think people need to hear what Bernie has to say. But more importantly, Bernie right now is the only one who's saying universal healthcare paid for by our taxes, is a human right. We should have that in America. There are no other politicians saying this stuff. I mean, Alexandria is, but she's with Bernie on the Against Oligarchy tour. All the other politicians are bought and paid for, or a lot of the other politicians are bought and paid for. There's only one, and Bernie's doing it not because he's brave, but in America, that's bravery to say healthcare is a human right, which is so fucking, that baseline is something that's abhorrent. The rest of the world looks at us and is like, that's sad. That's sad that you have one politician saying healthcare is a human right, should be paid for by your taxes, not out of your paycheck, from some gatekeeping company that can deny you the claims your doctor said that you should do. But Deeg, here's the more important thing, and you can say you hate Trump all you want, but your comments are suspect, because it's not about Biden. You know, it's the funniest thing when I hear the Trump regime, which they're a regime. You know, they're getting rid of due process, they're ignoring court's orders, they're starting trade wars that are just going to hurt us. And hilariously, they're eliminating trillions of dollars from wealthy people. That's when, you know, the wealthy people will fight back. That's the one thing you got to give them credit. They're very well organized, and they will fight against you in a heartbeat. Just remember, when you go to work, your boss isn't there to make sure that you get paid what you're worth. He's there to make sure that the company gets their profits. But what I hate hearing is like these people who are like, well, Biden, but what about Biden? It's like, he's fucking a million years old like Trump is, but he's not in charge right now. I had a lot of issues with Biden when he was the one calling the shots. It's really stupid to be like, yeah, let's talk about Biden right now, that Trump is fucking plummeting the stock market, laying off thousands, letting a billionaire, he has over 13 billionaires in his regime. 13 billionaires are running our country. For all the people who like Abe Lincoln when he said, for the people, of the people, by the people, we are not billionaires. They are the 1%. That's why they're 1%, because they're a minority. But I feel like, I get this temperature reading for hold on, Hunt for Andrew. Are you diminishing my $50 in GameStop stuff? Hunt for Andrew, are you still here? Hit subscribe and the notification bell. Hunt for Andrew, my name is Rob. I do news commentary, and that comment was hilarious. No, I'm not ignoring it. And I'm not going to diminish my 3 shares of GameStop stock. But I will. If you don't know the GameStop saga, watch, what's the movie? They made a movie about it. But it's hilarious. Well, the thing is like, we're not BlackRock. We're not, who's that Money Madness with Jim Cramer or Ed Kramer or Kramer? The Money Madness TV show. There's a clip floating around on YouTube of him doing an in-house video. It means like it's not supposed to be for public. And he's talking about how these huge corporations who have billions of dollars use those billions of dollars to sway the stock market. So they can buy low, sell high. They can manipulate all sorts of things. And there's a video. I got to share that video. I'll find it. I'll share it in my community. So if you hit subscribe and notification bell, you get notified when I share. And, or maybe you only get notified when I upload or go live. But, I mean, it's clearly been manipulated for the wealthy. And I'm here to say continually that we need to stop allowing it. There's more of us. High speed, low drag. Mexico begging to have a new sit down with Don. High speed, low drag. Just so you know, most of these countries are forming alliances outside of the U.S. Number one, because Donald, which is a hilarious name. I mean, there's not many names I don't like, but Donald is one of them. Just on its face. Donald. Say that name a bunch of times to yourself. Okay? Donald. That's the guy, it's not a very serious name. It's a loser name. But I don't know if you saw High Speed, Low Drag yesterday. South Korea, Japan, and China all had a meeting and all decided to come together and form an alliance of trade to skirt what the U.S. is doing. And the funniest part about this is people like High Speed, Low Drag are like, oh, people are going to be begging to sit down and cut a new deal with Trump. Number one, Trump's not really good at making deals. If you know anything about negotiations, just the way he acts, how he can't shut up. I've talked about negotiations. I've been in negotiations. You have to negotiate when you work via contract. And the fact that he won't shut up and says a lot of bogus nonsense is a big tell of his that he's not good in a negotiation. It's very hard for him to be quiet. And silence is power in a negotiation. The ability to just sit calmly, quietly, gives you a lot of power in a negotiation. So I don't believe the hype. Just like when he first got elected years ago, and I had people saying, how dare you make fun of Melania? She speaks 5 languages. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. Melania doesn't speak 5 languages. She speaks 2 at best, and not very good. But she doesn't. And there was a YouTuber that, thankfully, compiled all this video of her visiting other countries. Which, by the way, where's Melania now? Where is she? Where's the First Lady now? Where's all her stuff that she's supposed to be doing? Be Best 2.0. But a YouTuber compiled all these different clips of her addressing a class in French, all the languages she allegedly spoke. And he was like, she's not only using the wrong context, but she's basically just doing a bare greeting. She's speaking nothingly. And if you were nothingness, and if you were fluent in different languages, when you went to those countries, you would speak fluently. I mean, it's just a big con. And here's the other important thing I need to tell people. Because especially if you're in the Donald Elon cult, they pride themselves on like, you're not you don't be a loser, be a winner, never admit fault, never take accountability, be slippery like a snake, be a den of vipers. They pride themselves on like being ruthless. But here's the thing, if they tricked you, it's not your fault. I feel like Good Will Hunting, where Robin Williams is hugging Will, saying like, it's not your fault, man. And it's just like that. Like, it wasn't Will Hunting's fault that he got abused when he was little in the movie. Like, it wasn't his fault. It really wasn't, but he carried that guilt. And I feel like Robin Williams, and I got to do this, I'm not a young man. I'm not Will Hunting. I'm at the age of the Robin Williams, and I got to say to you young kids, it's not your fault. He suckered you. He's been a grifter since the 80s, okay? He's a professional grifter. That's what Donald is. And that's all I'm calling him from now on, Donald. Because that name is fucking dumb. That is the dumbest name. Hello, I'm Donald. You can't be a serious person with the name of Donald. Woo. Oh, Donald, your parents did you no favors. You could tell his daddy didn't like him. But this dude is a professional grifter, okay? He's a pro. You don't get better than this. He is the top of the line grifter. I mean, even the people high speed, low drag, you think he's good at, cutting deals. And you use those words. You'll say, he'll cut a deal. They love to say that. Why? Because of The Art of the Deal, a book he didn't write. He had someone else write that book for him. And it's fucking hilarious. But sad at the same time. Because these people, could wake up. And we could give them a hug like Robin Williams does to Will Hunting in the movie Good Will Hunting. And say, it's not your fault. You got tricked. And it's okay. But, we want to take our country back. We want to do what your stickers and the front of your trucks and the back of your trucks and the side of your trucks say. We want to take our country back. But the thing is, who does Trump want to take the country back from? Because as far as I've remembered, the country has always been owned by wealthy people. That's why we have a website like opensecrets.org. Because the open secret in America is wealthy people donate to elections and purchase our officials. They purchase our public servants and they hold them to their standards. And they don't ever want to benefit the working class. And somehow the working class, the people who wake up every day and make shit in this economy, and they are the consumers, they are the functioning backbone of this great American country that looks like a fucking strip mall no matter where you go. People have fallen victim to thinking like, we got to take it back from who? Because I'm pretty sure the only illegal immigrant that has taken your job is Elon Musk. It's not the guy down the street hoping for work in the back of a truck, It ain't the dudes at Home Depot trying to fucking earn a couple dollars to send home. Those guys aren't creating the layoffs. They're not manipulating the stock prices. They don't change the price of eggs. The only people we got to take our country back from, ironically, is the dude on the sticker, Trump. The wealthy people. Trump. Logan Creed, what do you think? I'm a monkey? You tell me dance, monkey, dance? I will not. I will in a little bit. Let's do a Joe Butler. Are you not a vet? Are you not happy with the reform of the VA and increase in disability pay or fair trade with the countries that have had tariffs on us? Joe, do you think what this happened with this tariffs is benefiting us? And how? Joe, if you just watch some of the alliances that have been forming outside of the US, like I said earlier, the South Korea, Japan, and China, how even when you put sanctions on Russia, Russia said, oh, we'll just work around it. We'll just operate with other countries or form alliances with other companies. Joe, if Donald Trump really wanted to bring, because he said this, we got to bring the manufacturing jobs back to America. Why doesn't he manufacture in America? Why does he make his stuff in China? Why does he make his MAGA t-shirts in Nicaragua? Like, Joe, You were one of the ones that I need to give a hug to and say, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You got tricked, and it's okay. Because he exploits the same system does. So, Joe, what you're saying is, he's saying we should do this, but he's not going to do it. So is that where your character lies? Your character lies for America in, well, he's just exploiting the same system, but instead of what he's trying to do now is benefit America by making manufacturing here, he's still not going to do it. Like, he doesn't think he should do it because, again, it's exploitation of workers. Thank you, Joe. Joe, again, I'm not forcing anyone. I'm saying if Donald Trump, I'm trying to point out how he's a liar. Because if he says we need to bring jobs back to America, the easiest thing to do would be is have your jobs in America. If he's a business owner and he believes we should have jobs in America, guess what? He should be making his shirts union made here in America, Joe. He's a liar. And it's just that simple. This is what I mean. Joe, I just walked you through critical thinking. Well, if he's saying on TV and really believes this, if you believe he believes what he says, which hard pressed to find those people. I think it's just he stokes fear inside of people, and people react to fear very well. But Joe, the Dropkick Murphys at their concert the other day, which they're doing a protest, Hands Off America, tomorrow, April 5th. I will post the little flyer in my community, so hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Joe, you didn't just do Joe Biden, did you? Oh, I'm missing some of the comments, sorry. But Joe, my whole point was that if Donald Trump is the leader, the supreme leader you think he is, then he's got an easy road. He can say, I believe so much in bringing jobs back to America, I make all my stuff here in America. But at the Dropkick Murphys concert the other day, the maggot that would not stop wanting the attention on him, and like the singer for Dropkicks, Ken Casey, said, he said, how do you know someone's in a cult? They won't stop holding up their hat the whole time. And Ken Casey made a bet with this dude and said, hey, let's make a bet you can't lose. I'll give you a t-shirt and $100 if your MAGA shirt's made in America. He turned it around. It was made in Nicaragua. So Joe, you exploit, you're willing to say Donald Trump exploits his workers, but he believes in America first, but he's not willing to not exploit foreign workers to put America first. So what I'm saying is, just within your comments, you've told me that his whole thing is a crock of lies. Speaking of Crocs, nobody's making you buy Crocs for $50. You actually believe the Democrat would have us in a better position? Justin, here's the thing. Maybe you guys are new. Hit subscribe and notification bell. I usually have to do this once a live stream. I'm not a Democrat. I like Bernie. He's an independent. I've been Green Party forever. But did you just join? Because I said there's a website in America called opensecrets.org. It's the open secret of America that our politicians, the people who are supposed to serve the public, are bought and paid for. I've said this many times. Do you think if you voted for all blue, do you think if Kamala Harris got in the White House and it was all blue representatives, we would get universal health care? No. But Justin, this is not the fucking conversation we're having. I need people to have some kind of common sense. Because Justin, in your hypothetical, you actually believe the Democrat would have us in better position right now? That's not even a fucking option. Like, if I said yes, where does the conversation go? What I'm saying is this system that you've been tricked to think red and blue are different. They are both fucking wings of the same bird. And that's what needs to be fixed. Just the Trump is a fascist regime. They have gotten rid of due process in America. They are ignoring court orders. They are stoking fear, but most importantly, they've aligned with racists and neo-Nazis to exploit workers. You're just now, like 3 minutes ago, being added to YouTube Shorts recommendations, so it's possible they just joined in the last couple minutes. Thank you, Semi. Thank you. I appreciate that. Different sides of the same coin. Thank you, Joe. And here's the thing. I think Joe is a Trump supporter. I encourage Trump supporters to hit subscribe. There is one thing I will not or I shouldn't say, there's one list I won't tolerate on this channel. I go by the old Kurt Cobain adage. Amy, if you're listening, God bless Kurt, rest in peace. But I won't stand like homophobia, racism, or misogyny. But other than that, and some people can't not go without it, but that's what I don't want. But I really need to I feel like the only way to put it, because I love Good Will Hunting, is I need to Robin Williams Good Will Hunting, okay? I need to give a hug to Joe and say, Joe, you're right. Same side. They're both two different sides of the same coin. And you got to understand that even if you're willing to say Trump, builds or makes all his stuff in Nicaragua so he can exploit the system. What you're saying is so he can exploit those workers. And then you acknowledge that, well, if he really believed in America first, then he would have first brought his companies here to America and say, proudly union made, like the Dropkick Murphys do. And bragged about it. And then said, because I believe in that so much, I'm doing this trade war or whatever. But it's all fucking optics. That means it's all just for looks. It's all for show. That's why his Secretary of the Treasury yesterday doing interviews, when they said, how long will these tariffs be? What is this? What do you think of this? And he just kept saying, I don't know. Because the Trump regime doesn't know anything. They just do what he says. It's like the voter in Wisconsin, which I put a short, I made a short of, because Elon Musk's America First Pact made a video with this girl saying, I did exactly what Elon Musk told me to do and voted and told my friends and da-da-da. And that's how I have $1 million, which most Americans, because it's Elon Musk, they let it slide. But if George Soros had a video of a girl saying, George Soros gave $1 million to vote, a lot of people would be upset. But because it's Elon Musk, they let it slide. What I'm saying is, like, if you're letting it slide, you're letting them fucking abuse and exploit you. Because they're not doing it for your benefit. This girl that made the video wasn't like, I believe in what this judge, his past judgments and what he's going to do for our county. She didn't say any of that. She said, I did exactly what Elon Musk told me to do. I followed orders. And if you know anything about history, the people who are just following orders usually aren't the heroes in the situation. They're usually not the good guys. Alyssa, good to see you. Good to see you. Kyle Wade, you're hilarious. I want to know how it feels to be that dumb. All you got to do is critically think, If you consider yourself smart because you do what Trump says, then, I'm proud to be dumb. Oh, listen, Rob, I said something funny. I meant an Evo. What's an Evo? Thank you, I get it, but I would rather deal with a falcon than a buzzard any day. What you're dealing with is seagulls. All of our politicians are seagulls. They're dumpster divers, and they'll do anything for money. Billionaires just chuck French fries at them all day, and the seagulls keep coming back. You're not dealing with falcons or buzzards. You think Donald Trump is a falcon? That crusty old fucking orange turd? You think a guy named Donald is a falcon? If anything, he's a duck. Alyssa, OMG, we argue for 20 minutes. Who did you argue with? Marias. I think you know the answer to that. If you come into a chat asking why did he have all that baby oil, my perception, my understanding of you is you spend a lot of time wondering what Diddy did with that baby oil. In fact, your browser history might need to be deleted, my friend Marius. If that's your comment, if you come in and hear what we're talking about, you're like, why did Diddy have all that baby oil? I got a feeling, Marius, that your browser history might be suspect. And I got a feeling that you might be looking in all the places for that answer. And I don't have it for you. I don't have it for you. In a video I watched, Biden told Trump to keep yapping. It was funny. Well, because Trump, and this is what I was saying earlier, I forget who said something about people are going to want to come make a deal with Trump. But if you know anything, you don't have to listen to me. I've just experienced negotiations in my life. Well, most of us have. Anytime you go for a raise, anytime you're trying to haggle on the price of a car, anytime, you're dealing with lawyers or, anything like that, you're negotiating. People negotiate more often than they think, It doesn't have to be a formal setting across a table in some skyscraper. Negotiations happen all the time, and if you really want to get good at them, practice all the time. Make things a negotiation that usually aren't, and you'll get better at it. And what you'll learn is sometimes silence is your power. And Donald Trump cannot be silent. How about import and export taxes on Mexico and Canada? Oh, how about them? You understand that all of these taxes are not paid by anyone else besides the consumers. Like, do you have that bottom line under, like, the baseline understanding of, like, nobody's paying for, like, if they put, let's say, just a 10% tax on something, right? Avocados. My God, Richard Wolff was talking about this yesterday. I don't feel like I'm the one. Richard Wolff is a great economist. I linked a video of his down below. I forget what it was about. He responds to stuff, and he's really great. Joe, I would highly encourage you to watch Professor Richard Wolff. He's a great economist, and he breaks down this stuff. But he was doing this yesterday in one of the videos. He's like, if they put a 10% tax on avocados, he said that just raised the price for you and me, bare bones. He went into it more, but he said if it goes from $10 to $11, the company's not like, oh, we gotta suffer that cost. They're just passing it along. You know what I mean? Like, none of this is like Joe, my bigger thing is like, who do you think pays for it? Do you think Canada's like, damn it, now we gotta pay more? It's like, no, they just go, okay, it just costs more now. Like, this is what I mean. It's common sense. This isn't even critical thinking. This is just like common sense. It's like, do you think companies are going to fucking stretch their bottom line? They won't pay people more. They're not going to take on a tax. They're going to go, okay, consumers, sorry. And the thing is in the news, Target CEO, many CEOs have come out and said, sorry guys, shit's going to cost more. They're putting taxes and tariffs and all this stuff. But why, when we get products made in Mexico, paid for, by the way, can Mexico slap an extra 20%? What do you, again, Joe, answer just my question. Who do you think pays for this stuff? If it saves them money, they will. How is costing more saving them money? Again, here we go. Here comes one of the Trumpers. Trump 2028. I'm guessing you're watching from North Korea. I love these people. They're the funniest, dumbest people, because their comment is usually just Trump 2028 or Trump won. They add no context, nothing else. But this is what I've been saying. You put on full display, like you don't think. There's no common sense, no critical thinking. They're like, we don't care if he can't be elected for a third term. He's going to have J.D. Vance do it, run as vice president, and then he's going to be president again. We need this. I knew you were in North Korea. You love supreme leaders, that's all. Joe Butler, government and taxes probably. What I'm saying, Joe, is who pays for the taxes? Joe, when you go to the store and you buy groceries, does the government pay for that tax? I don't know. I've been along for a long time. And as far as I know, I pay for my taxes anytime I purchase any kind of income tax, any kind of state tax, any kind of fucking whatever tax. Like, that's not getting passed along to the government. The government will collect the tariff money. But what I'm saying is, if you have, because the government of Mexico, as far as I know, they're not the Chiquita Banana Republic. They don't make the avocados, okay? They're made by a company, or they're harvested by a company in Mexico. So again, this is like bare bottom of the barrel shit. It's like if let's say Mexico has a $10, let's just call it dollar tariff on $100 avocados, right? They bring them into the US. The US will get that $10 tariff, right? But the company that's importing them says, oh, well, we had to pay 110 and that $10 went to the government. So the government will get some money. But when they turn around, they go, now avocados are $110. like I'm bad at math, and that's some basic shit. Oh man, it's just like the most basic shit. It's not like the company goes, oh, we got to pay this extra $10. Here you go, government, and now we'll just lose $10. They don't. They're going to turn around and go, guess what? And my point, Joe, my point is if just Google this, Joe, once I get off the live stream, just Google CEOs saying things will cost more because of tariffs. You don't even have to put in tariffs. Just put in CEO cost more, and guess what? Like the Target CEO was a big one the other month. He said, we're already raising our prices because we're not going to, because companies don't exist to fucking be your friend. They're not here to make sure you can drink and eat. Companies don't give a shit. They don't care if you die. They don't. People have this illusion that like the advertising is one of the most poisonous things to happen to our culture, because they think the polar bear Coca-Cola polar bears like give a shit if these people have a good Christmas. You know, these polar bears don't. They're made up. They don't care. You know, in fact, they want you to get fucking diabetes and lose your feet. These polar bears don't give a shit. Companies have tricked people. Why do you think Joe Camel, the cartoon camel, cannot be the cigarette mascot anymore? Because people were so fucking dumb. They were like, oh shit, kids were smoking. You know, it's and people really think like, oh no, these companies care if I can live or die, if I have enough water and food to eat. They don't care. That's why they don't pay. That's why we have a minimum wage, because if we didn't have one, they would pay you fucking close to nothing. We have to establish that. Now that we have the baseline out there, you have to understand that what Trump is telling you is not true. These companies aren't going to take it on the chin for you. They're not your fucking friend. These companies are going to go, oh shit, there's a tariff. Guess what? Your shit just got expensive because we need record profits, which if you just look up record profits in the US, you'll see most companies have record profits. That's why we need to tax wealth, not work. We need a higher tax on these wealthies. No company is ever going to voluntarily lose money. No, because then they wouldn't be a company. They would fucking be your friend. Companies only exist. Do people not know? Like, companies only exist to make money. They're not here to like fucking hire people and throw pizza parties on Friday. Companies only exist to make money at the cost of your life or not. They do not care. That's why insulin in America is extremely expensive, because companies are allowed to charge whatever they want, irregardless if people die or not. And in other countries said, we're going to cap it. Or in Canada, they said it doesn't matter if you have the national healthcare system or private healthcare system, insulin is free. Because Canada said nobody should die for a medicine that we've already invented and we have the cure for. But in America, well, he said that it would suck for 6 months. Yeah, Joe, that's the old, it's coming tomorrow. My girlfriend's in Canada. It's that old chestnut. It's the old chestnut of like, just in 6 months, we promise. And then in 6 months, I got a surprise for you. Corporations are people, my friends, was said by who? Corporations are people, my friends. Oh, anything for clicks. That was Mitt Romney. I think. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there is a clip. I'm almost positive it was Mitt Romney who said corporations are people, my friends. Camel Joe knew that people were saving up camel cash about to redeem prizes for him. DC Rex One. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. DC Ray Exxon. Are you one of Elon Musk kids? That seems like an Elon Musk named just kid. I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to offend you. But that comment is a gem, because there used to be Camel Cash, which would come on the back of your pack. I'd pull it off. It looked like $1. And there used to be Marlboro Miles or Marlboro Bucks. And my friend in high school got his rain jacket from Marlboro Miles. And then he switched from Marlboro to Winston, so we called him Winston forever. Corporations have a legal obligation to maximize profit for JMO. They not only have that, but their whole premise is they have to meet Wall Street's expectations. Every quarter for any publicly traded company, you can go onto their earnings calls and they'll say, did we meet Wall Street's expectations? But the thing about Wall Street and their expectations is they always want more profits. And we live on a finite earth. We only have a certain amount of people and we only have a certain amount of money, and billionaires are hoarding all that, and people are being paid less and less. I mean, if you haven't gotten a raise in 5 years, your money's just worth less because of inflation. So I have friends who have not gotten raises in 5 years, and even my raise at 1.7% or 2.7% doesn't even cover inflation. So our money is just worth less than 5 years ago. But there are people hoarding that money. It's not the only illegal immigrant that's hoarding that money is Elon Musk, siphoning it to the top. Jeff Bezos, they're siphoning all this money, right out of our communities, absolutely out of our communities. And they can't meet Wall Street's expectations if our purchasing power is gone, because the economy runs on people being able to buy stuff, take out loans, pay them back. There's all these facets, but it basically boils down to, if working people have no money, there's no economy. Price of egg does not matter when people aren't paid anymore. LTJH545. I would agree with your comment that they also have a moral obligation not to screw up the country, but if you just look back through history, they have zero moral obligation because corporations are not people. They are run by CEOs who are people, but we've seen those people dehumanize everyone and anything outside of profits. They humanize profits, they dehumanize people, and they have no moral obligation. Just look at Abbie Hoffman before he died in the 80s, and he was fighting against corporations that were poisoning the water. Look at Nestle, something infamously Bill Burr has brought up, that the CEO of Nestle was buying all the water rights. We used to have a company here in New England called Poland Spring, and the whole fucking advertising motto was what it means to be from Maine, because the Poland Spring water was harvested out of Maine and the fresh spring aquifers in Maine. I stopped buying Poland Spring as soon as Nestle bought them, and there's a documentary on Nestle, this fucking European company that was coming in and buying. And if you don't know anything about Maine, there's a lot of old timers, like generational people there that have always lived in Maine. They're maniacs. And Nestle came in and was buying out the water rights, buying land next to somebody who had water underneath them and sucking it all out, just like There Will Be Blood. I take my milkshake. And they have no moral obligation. I mean, the people that are buying up all the water in areas to sell it back to you do not care about life, so they can be richer for today. The damage to productivity means that the pie doesn't grow, so we're all poor. I have friends in Maine near a place called Skowhegan. That's a very Maine name, Skowhegan. I want to name a cat that. Come here, Skowhegan. Nestle has affected all countries, especially in South America. Yes, the IJ Gamers. GERM. I like that name. GERM. We have plenty of examples of socialist planned economies failing. Doesn't mean all wealth distribution via... Well, what socialist planned economies failing are you talking about? Because if you're talking about the ones in South America, those were specifically failed by coups of America. Milton Friedman and his junta-backed regimes took out all of the successful socialist programs that were happening. And if you want to learn your history about that, read The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein. The Shock Doctrine, The Rise of Disaster Capitalism. And it goes into all of this. And it's important to know, because history and the repeaters of this like to say, oh, socialism has failed everywhere. But when you when you look a little deeper, you'll find out why. Look at Cuba, a socialist revolutionary state, has been successful, and they allow people to become doctors for free. They have a cancer vaccine, and Cuba has been basically cut off from the rest of the world, from America. And they are a prime example of an amazing socialist, successful story, despite being cut off, despite having to drive cars from the 50s because they're not allowed to buy or trade with any other countries besides, I don't know, Russia and North Korea. They have been successful. And there are Americans that I follow that have left to go to Cuba to go to school to become doctors. I mean, Cuba has a cancer vaccine. You understand what I said, right, folks? The USSR was not exactly socialist. It was tending towards authoritarian. Cubans have the best doctors in the world. Yes, please look it up. JMO. I mean, the fact that you just laugh at that and don't go, well, what about this is, yeah, look into the history of Cuba, folks. I'm sorry, I did not see your question. What do you think about Trump's tariffs? Oh, we've talked about it. I think he's trying to end capitalism. I think he's not only hurting. Here's the bigger thing. Outside of the Americans are going to pay, the workers are going to pay for the tariffs, and it's hurting everything. Lulu, Solus, what's up? Good to see you, man. But sorry, Lulu. These tariffs, outside of the economic effects for working people that are going to have to pay more for basic stuff, fixing your car, video games, egg, avocados, whatever, we're going to be in a world of pain. And as long as Trump keeps telling people, just wait 6 more months, we'll be good. Like that old, my girlfriend's in Canada, she's coming this summer. That old bullshit. Outside of that, really destroying. And I mean, he wiped out 2.5 trillion from the stock market. And Trump is the one who tweeted, if a president loses more than 1,000 points in the stock market, he should be impeached. And he's done this twice, more than 1,000 points. I think it was 2,000 points. Trump wiped out 2.5 trillion of the wealthiest people. The sad part about that is your pensions, your retirement, that might all be gone, folks. All in the sake of tariffs. But outside of that, what concerns me more is on the world stage, okay? When you see Japan, South Korea, and China getting together and go, hey, you guys want to form an alliance? Because, that Donald guy is fucked. That's what concerns me. Because it's really important to, build a community and have partners. And more importantly, make your word mean something. And to me, that's really what this is at the heart of. Even Trump's own people don't know if the tariffs are in effect for 10 years, for 6 months, for a day. Nobody knows. Why? Because he doesn't know. Why? Because it's all a game to him. He doesn't give a shit. He's got a lot of money, and he doesn't care what happens. So even when they were interviewing the Treasury Secretary, and the Treasury Secretary could only say, I don't know. And the Daily Show pointed out, why are you there then? If you don't know, why are you doing interviews? But what's worse to me is, you're showing Canada, Greenland, Denmark, all these people that could rely on us somewhat. And we're not going to go into the history of it, but at least our word on its face meant something. You're showing all these people America's word is no good. It's rubbish. It doesn't matter. We'll fuck with you just to fuck with you. And, when you say oh, we'll bring them to the table, it's there's something bigger than trying to negotiate a better deal. And that's having friends. And this is coming from, Donald Trump, who does not have any friends. Elon Musk, who clearly does not have any friends. These are people that are outcast. They only value winning at all costs. They have no empathy. They do not care about society. They do not give a shit about anybody who's considered a loser, even though they are losers, technically speaking, multiple times over. So what really, really bugs me is Canada. Canada's been with us for a long time. They've backed us up. They've had our backs. They've shown us some good things too, And to just kind of F with them, I don't like that, And if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it in a more respectful way. Remember, this isn't your little brother in middle school. These are countries. These are proud people. You know what I mean? Like anybody who is like, I'm proud to be an American. Imagine if Canada was like, we're going to make you bitches our 8th territory, or I don't know how many territory there are. Imagine if Canada was saying that. How would you feel as a proud American? And people in America live in such a bubble, they forget. Like, that's what he's saying. He's saying, like, we're going to wipe out your identity. You'll just be our 51st state. You won't even be like number 50. You'll be 51. People forget that, man. And I know some Canadians. I worked with a Canadian I consider my brother. And even though he lives in America and he played American hockey, he is very proud to be a Canadian. Clean air, water, food, shelter should be a human right. It should be. So, Lulu, I hope that answers your question. Because I think the tariffs is a bigger indicator of, like, if you support Trump, you support your word meaning nothing, you flip-flopping, lying, only winning, even though that's physically impossible. Even wasn't it the great Wayne Gretzky, is he Canadian, who said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, or some shit like that. But it's concerning to me, because these are people who, like, we've been allies with. And then you look at the flip side of that coin, right? What's the flip side of that coin? Well, China goes, here's our move. Let's make a move. Hey, England, we haven't done business in a while. And look at America. That Donald guy, what a ridiculous name. That Donald guy seems like he's off his rocker. I don't know if he's too old or just too incompetent, but look it. He's thinking we're going to go begging to him. We're going to go cut a deal with him. No, you've already shown it. I want you to think about in your life, somebody who acts as petulant as Donald Trump, who just wants to insult you to your face, only likes compliments. Do you want to go make a deal with that person? No. So what is happening? You saw it yesterday. Japan, South Korea, China, they're all sitting there locking arms. Oh, shit. They're all sitting there locking arms. They were standing there like this, locking arms in a show, a physical show of a new alliance. If that doesn't concern you, like, what does America have? What do we got? Gold? What do we have that people are like, let's just figure it out without them? And then you got to deal with the headache of a billionaire, Elon Musk, who is just a Nazi. He wants to make apartheid America. He wants to make apartheid America again. And this fucking dude, being a loser in Wisconsin, placating to every city he goes to, putting on a cheese ad like, hey, I'm Wisconsin. It's like, you're so fake. Just be you. Just be genuine. People can smell. Well, I used to think they could smell the genuineness when people are original, but maybe not no more. More oil than the Middle East. Yeah, but if you're not paying attention to a lot of countries going green, wanting electric vehicles, trying to move away from that, then, what are we investing in the past? You're a pure Stockholm Syndrome case. Government are capitulating to the terrorists. 99FXR. It's so hilarious to the people that say, I'm Stockholm Syndrome. You're a sheep. You're the people that wear a president's clothing line made in another country. You wear a president's clothes that say, Make America Great Again. America first. That aren't even made in America. Like, the irony is dripping off you, literally. But governments aren't capitulating. They're not. They might be retaliating. How's your stock market, 99FXR? Well, a lot of your people do. And I say your people because it's a cult. Because whatever Trump says, whatever he's regurgitated, that's what they repeat. And they don't get to have their own thoughts. This is notorious. People who disagree with him don't get to exist much longer in his regime. That is like the history of Trump. This is not like something I'm predicting. It's like, that's what's proven. In fact, one of the stories I was talking about today, well, and then 99FXR. If you say you don't wear any of your president's clothes, what are your thoughts about president making clothes that said, Make America First, Make America Great, America First? What are your thoughts on him making those clothes in Nicaragua? Like, I love how you don't even answer the question. This is what I mean with the Trump people. Because if you're not in a cult, you can easily go, yeah, that sucks. That's totally wrong, and it's gaslighting people, and it's lying to people. But you don't even want to do that, and that's the sad thing. Because when you're not in a cult and you can disagree, you can say, yeah, he should be making his clothes union made in America if he believes in America first, if he believes that, American workers should have more jobs, and he should be putting his companies in America. But you don't. There are things made in America. Again, that's a non-answer. This is what I mean. Like, you can't even answer the question, 99FXR. You can't even answer the question. Trump's whole tariff thing was to bring jobs back here, but his companies make his t-shirts in Nicaragua. They have alliances with China to make his guitars and Bibles. And you can't even answer the question. It's a simple question. And I can tell you that the Dropkick Murphys make their t-shirts proudly union made in the U.S. So there is your example. It just happened 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago 3 weeks ago. It was St. Patty's Day at the Dropkick Murphys concert. They proved that the MAGA shirts, the Make America Great, ironically are not made in America by American workers. And the Dropkick Murphys proudly say all our stuff is union made here in America. So 99FXR. Your answers, and this is what I mean, you skirt it. I want to put on display for the people who are here that you skirt the question. You can't even go against Trump. You can't say that sucks. He should make his stuff here if he really believes in America first. And you can't do that. Your answers are, oh, the Dropkick Murphys have one good hit. You sound like Donald Trump. And this is what I mean. Donald Trump, when asked about the Signal chat, he said, by who? The Atlantic? I heard that was a failing company. They've only had one good article. Like, you are in a cult, and it's sad. And I'm here to be the Goodwill Hunting Robin Williams, to give you a hug and say it's not your fault. Maybe you're young and dumb, and he's preying on your fears. That's what he is. He's preying on your fears of the other, the woke left that wants you to have health care paid for by your taxes. And we want to get rid of those very nice gatekeepers of healthcare. We want to get rid of the insurance providers. We don't want them to capitalize on your health. This is like, it's so crazy to me that people exist like this. It's so crazy. 99FXR. I'm done answering any of your stuff because you've just avoided. You've done the Trump tactic. Call it failing. Distract over here. Say nobody does it anymore. It's like you're not having a conversation. You want to go through your list of bullet points to try to distract from the one thing I'm asking. It's not a hard question. I even answered it for you. It's very sad that you can't. You can't go against Trump. And all you would have to do is say, Trump should make his shirts in America, union made, because then it makes his word good. But his word is not good. Your word is not good. Timothy Mnemonic is here? What? Am I missing? Terry Charms. What's up? Timothy Mnemonic. That's one of the folks. Apple is committed to $500 million and 20,000 Johns in the next jobs. What? Minimum wage jobs? Again, we're at a different level. It's not what you're going to promise to in the future. It's like, well, what jobs are those going to be? What are those going to be? Good paying union-led jobs? Because Apple is notoriously running sweatshops in other countries where they have suicide nets that if people want to jump out, that the nets catch them. So do we want more of those jobs? We don't. And this is what I mean. You need to change the whole paradigm, folks. I don't even understand. I think, t-shirts. No, what I'm pointing out is that you're not serious people if you believe in a policy that the president doesn't believe in, and he doesn't believe in the policy. Guys, he's telling you to, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to get people out of a cult. He's telling you this is good for you and he's doing this, but he doesn't believe it, because if he believed in bringing jobs to America, he would have done it. He could have done it at any time, and he doesn't. And Elon doesn't either. Why do you think Elon was like, no, we got to keep the HP-1 visas? Like, guys, it's okay. He lied to you. It's okay. People have more of a hard time admitting they were lied to, and they'll watch their own self-destruction. They'll watch the destruction of their country, I mean, what do you think about Trump saying if a president makes the stock market drop 1,000 points, he should be impeached? Do you guys believe that one? Do you believe that one? Anybody? It's getting real quiet now. Anybody believe in what Trump said? That if the president drops the stock market more than 1,000 points. It's funny. Nobody will answer my questions, but they want to say, oh, they want to bark like a little dog. I'll treat you like one then. Lulu, I have another question. What do you think about Trump attacking Yemen? I feel really sad that he's killing young kids who don't have food and water. 100%. I agree with you. I don't like when people say, you know, we're the most mighty military in the world. I don't think it should be used to be a bully. No, don't worry. All the rules don't apply to the glorious Supreme Willard. Owl with a howl. 100%. It only applies if it doesn't affect him, because Trump, and I put this in my community post, said, impeach the president if he makes the stock market drop 1,000 points. And I'm pretty sure it's dropped almost 2,000. And it did it his last term. So you guys just you don't care. You don't care. You're not serious people. Because if I ask you a question and you avoid it, and then you go into like, how many gender, like, that's not what we're doing. And you know, it's just little kid tactics. I know you see it on the news, and I know you see it works for Trump, but that's my problem with the media, is the media needs to just sit there and go, just answer the question. If you can't answer, if you're not a big enough man to answer the question, just say that. If you're a loser and you can't answer the question, just say that. You're too scared, just say that. And then we can move on to the next thing. But these people can't go against Trump making his shirts, not caring about American jobs, doing this tariff thing just to tank the fucking economy so he can, you know, basically renegotiate his trade deals with these other countries. That's what he's doing. If you think a guy who bragged about having a toilet made of gold in the 90s gives a shit about you, if you think Elon Musk, who is ignoring his newborn children, he has 2 more newborn children, has like 15 kids, right? If I told you a South African illegal immigrant had 15 kids and was ignoring 2 of them and said one of them was dead to him, even though it wasn't, you would probably go full speed racist attack. But then if I told you it was Elon Musk, you'd support it. Oh, and you love deportations, even though they're avoiding due process, even though the story the other day about them taking a father of a 5-year-old who they admitted was a administrational error, and they're not getting him back, like, that is so grossly inhumane. And Joe, that's my point. People haven't been happy with the government in a long time. That's what led us to Trump, because Trump just says whatever. He just says whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't have any beliefs. His belief is like, don't be a loser, win, and have the most money. And if you don't have those, then he doesn't care about you. That's why we're here. So what I'm saying again is, like, even if you have elected all Democrats, even in this very close race that Trump and Elon obviously fucking fucked with, and that's the only reason he skated out with a close win. Even in a close race like this, if you got all Democrats, they're not giving you universal health care. That's why we need to understand that water, food, shelter, healthcare should be a basic right. Other countries have figured this out, folks. Canada, like I've said, look it up. Insulin is free for everybody. It doesn't matter if you have private or national health care. It is free. We've collectively, as a human species, have worked towards these advancements. And here in America, they gatekeep them so a few people can profit. We need to organize, come together, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, because this is the only way out of it, folks, is we all collectively have to reject it. We have to stop pretending like some guy with a golden toilet gives a shit about you. You have to be like, no, man, what are you doing? You really care about? Then make the jobs here. And that is an important point that people overlook, and they go, oh, well, then I don't pay attention to anything else you say. But what I'm saying is, I don't trust a man who lies about the simple shit, okay? And he's lying about the most basic things. And if you can't be held accountable, and if you can't tell the truth on the most simple, basic things, I don't trust you with the big ones. And that's what this is. Understand that. The t-shirt thing is not only important to me because these Trumpers won't answer it. They won't even go against Trump and say he should just make his t-shirts here. He could do it. He wouldn't even go out of business. He'd still cut a fucking dollar out of it. They won't even do that. They won't go against him. But what's bigger is like if he's lying about American first jobs, if he's lying about that and he's making his, and all his businesses are in China and Nicaragua, why do you trust him with more important things? It's that simple, folks. And the thing is I would like to believe that you here who are falling for it with Trump, I would like to believe that in your real life, if you caught someone lying to you, if you said, hey, I just dropped that nickel on the ground, did you take it? But you watched them pick it up and they said, no, I didn't take it. That you would go, well, I don't trust that person. But it turns out a lot of you would be like, hey, he probably didn't take it. He said he didn't take it. I don't know. Why would he benefit? He's a rich guy. Why would he want more of my nickels? And you would believe it. And it's so sad to me. But if I seen that, I'd call that shit out right away. I'd be like, give me the fucking nickel. And if not, then we break ties because I have no room for that kind of deceit and dishonesty and lack of character and lack of empathy and lack of morality and lack of fucking being a decent human. So hit subscribe. Yeah, Trump didn't watch yesterday in my description. I put a video done by The Daily Show observing Trump talking about groceries. And Trump, somebody brought up a comment about groceries. And Trump hilariously keeps calling groceries an old-fashioned word. He does not go shopping. Trump does not go to Target. He doesn't know what the inside of a Walmart looks like. He has people who do that for him before he was president. He's had butlers and servants his whole life. Go look up the articles about him living in the skyscrapers because his daddy was rich. You know what I mean? Like, this dude doesn't know what the fucking price of bread, eggs, or milk is. He does not care about you. He does not care about you, but somehow you think the guy who couldn't tell you what an egg cost is going to fight for your price of eggs. He's going to be like, what are they now? $20, $12? What? That's good, right? It's like, we need people who are not wealthy to fucking make these decisions. It was very close, JMO. It was so fucking close. It hasn't been closer, actually. This was so close, and it's so sad that, like, you just buy whatever Trump says. And the proof is that even with the t-shirts, if he cared about making jobs, making more American jobs, he would lead the way by example. And he's lied to you about that. That's why he doesn't ever talk about where his stuff is made, because it's all made foreign so he can make the most money. I mean, think about a guy who doesn't play guitar selling you guitars. If I was right now saying, hey, I've never played guitar in my life, but buy this guitar, I would hope that you're like, that's fucking suspect. I don't trust this. It's just like when all those YouTubers were saying, I'm going to make you a lord or a lady. You can buy this sheet of paper and you get a square foot of land in Scotland. Immediately, I was like, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's not how you get to buy real estate in Scotland, but it's bullshit. And some people will do it. And Trump and Elon and these corporations have created an atmosphere where people are so desperate just to get by or to look fancy or to whatever it is that they will exploit other people. And I'm here to say we need to stop that. We can stand together. They are the 1%. They are few. We are many. It is political theater. The IJ Gamers. IJ Gamers, please hit subscribe and the notification bell. Are you interested in any Abbie Hoffman? He was a great political activist. He was part of the Chicago 7, I think it was. There's a Netflix movie on him where Borat plays Abbie Hoffman. You should read his books. If you just use the language political theater, you should read his books, because that's what he calls it. And he calls it political guerrilla theater, though. And I think you would appreciate. You are a MAGA baby. You're right, Joss Cummings. I'm glad you pointed that out. Thank you. I didn't think you were going to say anything against yourself, but you are a MAGA baby. You're a big MAGA baby. So everybody, when your eggs are $1 million, when your eggs are when your eggs are $50, you better thank JD Vance for calling it the Gulf of America. Oh, bunch of MAGA babies. Timothy Mnemonic sent me here. He says, hi, much love. That Timothy Travis. Okay. I saw Timothy Mnemonic mentioned in the comments, but I couldn't pay attention at the time. Please tell him we miss him. We hope he joins again. And that's awesome. I was wondering where he's been. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Joe, you should look up the last time tariffs in America were. I think it was 1930. And even Rand Paul, who I hate Rand Paul, the senator out of Kentucky, said, last time we implemented tariffs, we lost the House and Senate for like 60 years. So I encourage you. I encourage you. I thought it was a word analysis of the word grocery. Oh. All right, guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. Please hit subscribe, even those MAGA babies. Hit subscribe because we need dialogue. We're gonna get you out of this cult. I'm gonna Robin Williams. What's his character name in Good Will Hunting? I keep forgetting. I'm gonna Robin Williams hug you like you're Good Will Hunting out of this cult. I'm gonna say it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You got tricked. You know, their propaganda is slick. It's slick, and they have state news. Fox Entertainment is state news. There's a lot of propaganda, and it's slick. We're gonna get you out of the cult. Okay. So hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join me. I'm here every weekday doing news commentary, newsmentary. Oh, and Mel Gibson, let's just briefly hit this. Mel Gibson lost his ability to own a gun here in America because he has a domestic violence conviction. And Trump got rid of the Department of Justice head, and he put in Pam Bondi, and she just allowed him to have a gun again here in America. So the rules are only effective if you're an enemy of this regime. And it's really scary because, and I also link something down below about gun violence within domestic situations. And it really terrifies me for any women in Mel Gibson's life, because if you know anything about this stuff, again, I'm just touching upon it because it was other thing in the news today. So I hope we had a constructive discussion. I hope what I've said to people is I hope I planted some seeds in your brain, and I hope maybe later you venture into the things. I did link some things down below. So much love, much respect, even to the people I disagree with. I still want you to have health care. That's the difference. While some people want cruelty to others, I want them to have health care paid for their taxes. I want them to go on vacations. I want them to have paid time off, parental leave. I want all these things for our community here in America. So join the community. Much love. Love you, Em. Peace.